What's up everybody, Ruben Garcia with Find Fayetteville, and we're about to go into Ben Stout Construction to understand a little bit about what he does and maybe some of the benefits to you as a buyer. What's up everybody, Ruben Garcia with Find Fayetteville, and I'm with Ben Stout Construction. And if you don't mind, tell everyone who you are, what you do, how you do it, and all that good jazz.
All right, cool. Yeah, so Ben Stout with Ben Stout Construction, we build single family homes pretty much in any community or county that surrounds Fort Liberty now. So old school Fort Bragg. So, and we are a kind of tract home builder, not a custom home builder. And in addition to that, we run a land company that facilitates lots and single family developments, both for my building company as well as some other great builders in the community, to allow us to produce our single family residences.
That's awesome, man. And I want you to know you're the first builder on this channel.
Okay.
So that's pretty cool.
Okay.
So what are you finding, at least for right now, at least I know some of the audience may want to know this, is what are the biggest challenges you're seeing right now when somebody is wanting to move more into, instead of resale, they want to move more into a new construction build?
Yeah, so I mean, we're really a unique company in that we really take, we call the concept trees to keys. So we can see a piece of raw land, take the raw piece of land, get it rezoned, engineered, put the utilities in, streets, et cetera, et cetera. And so, breaking the question down maybe into two parts. On the development side of things, it is a real challenge within the various communities to get the entitlements done, to get all the approvals from the state, get the stormwater approvals, to simply get past phase one, which is to get rezoning. Everybody wants to be in a certain community, but the people that are there, certain areas don't want anybody else to come in that community. And so those are some of the challenges that we have to overcome, and you just got to find a way to win. Once we do get by that process, I'd say the thing on the single family homes that everybody still talks about COVID and some of those delays, and it's not that there's so much delays, it's truly some of the workforce, and it's hard to find people to work. Not from our perspective. We often sub out the majority of our homes, but it's the end vendor who is trying to go and hire people. And I think those issues, if you run a business, small business, any type of business, from restaurants to building, it's the same thing, it's the people. And we're only as good as our people, and our people being our vendors. Those are the things that we typically run into on the single family side.
Yeah, and honestly, I hear that a lot. So what are you guys doing to combat that, to get in front of that? So when this person's watching, they're like, this may be the builder for me because of this thing you're about to say, the solution you have to what seems to be one of the biggest challenges you're having as well.
Well, there's a saying that Alice taught a long time ago, was prior proper planning prevents certain performance. And so to me, that's what it comes back. You got to have be in clear communication with the builders, the guys who are actually building the houses for us. So we set expectations within our business of what the timelines are for single family homes and for the different products that we build. And we expect our superintendents, builders to execute on those timelines. And so when we set a close date, to the best of our ability, we're going to be within that date. And so it gives that agent or that buyer, the person who's out there looking, an assurance of kind of where we're going to be at. And then every single Tuesday within my office, we do what we call a backlog meeting, which is we have the head of construction sit down and go over every house that we have under contract and look at when's it supposed to close and where we're at. So there's never going to be, to the best of our ability, a fire drill, because we understand, hey, you got to coordinate family, moving, this, that, and the other. So we're never going to have a last minute, the day of closing, oh, sorry, we need to push it a week. Like that's just not going to happen. So clear communication with the people who are involved. So that's the mortgage officer, the buyer's agent, home inspector, whatever the case may be. So great communication, and then setting expectations on timelines. If we do those things really, really well, the end product and the end experience is going to take care of itself.
Totally. And it sounds like you have a lot of this kind of built out pretty well. How long have you been doing this, and what has the growth been like?
Yeah. So I think that we epitomize kind of like the 15 years of being an overnight sensation. Oftentimes people are like, oh man, you came out of nowhere. Well, there's some level of truth to that. But my experience as it relates to my operation is, we started from the ground up, and for so many years I was operating as myself in a pickup truck. And
here in Fayetteville?
Here in Fayetteville, yep. So I came from, attended the Air Force Academy. I'm from Georgia. It's kind of my roots are at. Yeah. Went to the Air Force Academy. Life happened. My dad passed away. Showed up to Fayetteville, no military. So moved up here in 2003 after I graduated from Georgia. And then just kind of started hustling. Started out on the real estate side of things. From real estate to flipping houses, from flipping houses to building houses. And for many years, it was kind of me and a pickup truck. And then I wanted to...
What kind of truck?
Georgia red, F-250.
Of course it's Georgia red.
Has to have a F-250. That's like the sign of success, right? Yeah. And so, and then I would say approximately 5 years ago, plus or minus, I decided that I want to kind of change my paradigm and go for it. And by going for it, you have to build a team and you have to delegate to elevate. And so I started building a team. We had some great people initially, and those people allowed us to grow. And then we kind of shifted gears and really started focusing on getting better and understanding why we couldn't do what necessarily we wanted to do. And in the last year, we brought on some new leadership. And with that, we've just experienced we had plateaued, and now kind of projecting out, moving forward. We have our goals that we want to hit, and but it's been, for the better part of 3 years, we were growing at double. Yeah. And then at some point in time, you better have systems in place to continue that, or you hit some issues. And we hit issues, that's probably another conversation. But if you're trying to grow without systems, you're going to feel a pain at some point. Yeah. And so we kind of overcome those growing pains, and now we're focused on just getting better, hiring the right people, creating the right culture, and then making sure that we have a great team that is selling our houses. Because you can be a great home building company, but at the end of the day, we don't make any money until we sell a house. And so it's vitally important that we love our real estate agents. There's some people that builders maybe don't have that relationship. Hey, listen, you sell one of our houses, you're going to get a handwritten note from me or Brian Walker, who runs my home building company, because it's personal to us. We are a local company. Our money stays local. Our vendors are 95% local. All the people that work for us live here locally. And my kids are in this community. We plan on growing and staying in this community. Mm-hmm. And so for us, it's vitally important that we have a great experience, and we value those local real estate agents because they're the ones who ultimately determine our success. So that's kind of a background of how we got to where we're at.
Well, then that means I'm going to leave here with my chest poked out, because I feel much better about being a real estate agent. So what do you tell the buyer who says, man, looks like, by the way, first question, how many homes are you projected to close this year? And what do you tell the buyer who says, look, I like what you stand for, but you look a little too busy for me? So how many units closed this year, or homes, and then what do you tell that buyer?
Yeah, so great question. So this year, we set a goal of 160 closed units, which at the time, coming off of the third and fourth quarter last year, was really, I thought, pie in the sky. I think that the dust settles this year, we'll be close to 180, which is we'll probably do about $60 million this year, which is phenomenal. And so, we do
volume.
Yeah, we do volume. Yeah. Okay, we are not the right builder for everybody. Right. And we're okay with that, and it's okay for a buyer to be okay with that. Right. Because we're not, to do what we do, we have certain parameters that we have to stay within. Right. But we're really good within those parameters, we know that. And so one of the things that sometimes we have to say is no, because we're not the right builder for certain buyers. Right. But what I can tell you is we are fully focused and aware of our shortcomings, and we're focused on getting those things better. We're fully aware and transparent in that, everybody wants to pay attention to stars, right? Yeah. So everybody's looking to Google, and we get those questions. Hey, listen, the way I've always operated is, you find me a perfect builder, I'll find you somebody who's scrubbing their website and who's creating a false impression of reality. Yeah. Because there's nobody perfect, right? And so, and it takes human beings, what we talked about earlier, our vendor stuff. Yeah. We don't have robots that build our product. It's all men and women who are out there busting their tails to produce a product.
Right.
And nobody's perfect, right? So there's no perfect home, there's no perfect builder. Let's be clear about that.
Yeah.
That's not just us, it's any operation.
Yeah.
But what I can tell a buyer that buys our home is that it's personal to us. We're not perfect, but we're gonna try to overcome those shortcomings. If you go to Google, we got some 5-star reviews. And we have a ton of 5-star reviews from people that do business with us, real estate agents like yourself, because we focus on creating a great relationship with those people. As it relates to the end user, we probably sold 500 houses in the last few years, closed 500 houses, and we've probably had just a small handful. We did some math. I think the number was 97% success rate. And how I measure that is, if we're not getting a 1-star, then we're pretty satisfied with the product. But nobody wants to talk about the 4 and 5-star successes. They only talk about the 1-stars. And so, you're never going to please everybody. We understand that. And with the volume we do, we're going to have some issues. But we are wholly focused on doing the best we can to make those people happy. Do we make all of them happy at the end of the day? No. But we do the best with our warranty. We have a full-time warranty guy. We're going to keep it in-house. We're going to make those decisions, do the best of our can to uphold the standards that we set forth.
Yeah, and what I heard there was honesty, right? Like very real on where you guys are at and what kind of product or new construction company you're gonna get. I'm not throwing a bunch of fluff at you. It's gonna be the most perfect experience you've ever had, ever. So setting a great expectation. And I guess for me, if I were a buyer, I would get honesty out of that. Okay, this guy is honest. The other thing is, some of the lower stars, I guess you would call them lower stars, would you say that you started to get those even in the beginning stages, because you're still trying to figure out who your avatar is, who the right person is for you? So of course you're going to trip and fall a little bit on that. And then I'm going to roll into my next question, which is, I think you said approximately 500 homes closed thus far. What is your number one product? The thing that maybe a buyer here now is like, man, what is that product? I mean, I know it's very specific to that person, but what is your best selling product so they can maybe look it up in the description?
Yeah. Well, so I mean, great question. So I would say there are two different things there as it relates to past history, right? One is, you often don't know you have a problem until it's pointed out, right? And so some of the things that we recognize that are on, we'll call them our Google. We'll just talk about Google review. Is yes, there were some legit issues. Again, I'm not going to hide them, but we've changed our construction techniques. We have new vendors. Because yes, the vendor that you use day one isn't going to be the vendor you use day 750 into the growth of your business typically. Because as we scale, not everybody wants to scale with you. And so if the vendor didn't produce, and we recognize, and that's one of the things that we do is after action report. Okay, what was good about that product? What wasn't? What was good about that vendor? Well, if we have roof leaks, that roofer's not going to stick around long. Now, we're going to embrace the problem and go get it, but I can't undone what was 5 years ago. We just did our best there. And so, I would say that there's some of those issues that we've had to go and point out we've changed our techniques, gotten better vendors, set better expectations, held them accountable. Those are all things that when you're one man in a pickup truck, you're not necessarily tracking, right? Okay, so 100% we've gotten better at that. And number two is, I think, there ultimately is, and I'm sorry, this one's getting a little longer, but it's a great story. I went down the rabbit hole, and I think I told you this when I was with your team the other day. To me, it also epitomizes some of the challenges of just any business, and not just a construction business, be it Chick-fil-A, be it Miller's Crew, which we were talking about earlier, is individuals are hard to satisfy. So I think I told you this, but I'll tell the story for the folks because I always get a kick out of it. So I go online, and again, because it's personal to me, I'm like, man, what's going on? I got a 1-star review. Let me go click on this 1-star review. Like, man, let me go find this address. It's on the address. I went and looked it up. I was like, oh, the buyer hired a home inspector. Again, we love home inspectors. Talk about setting expectations. An independent person gives us sort of a review, a report card on our house. Love it. There's no, he said, I look at it, I'm like, man, there were 3 actionable items on that thing, and I have documentation that we corrected them. Again, how are we getting a 1-star? Now I'm like, well, let me go down the rabbit hole and see who the person is behind the 1-star. I click on her. First review I see is Chick-fil-A. Now, Chick-fil-A gold standard, right? I mean, like nationally, everybody knows the standard Chick-fil-A.
My pleasure.
Yeah, my pleasure. God's chicken. Number one, the best, right? And I click on it, and I'm like, my expectation, we all have them preconceived, 5-star. I look at it, 1 star.
Yeah.
Sweet tea isn't right. I've been coming here. I know they changed it. They won't admit it. 1 star. And so I was like, well, dang, if I'm a 1 star, they're a 1 star. I'm in good company. And again, like the point of the story, like, it's so hard. You know, when you hear these things in any industry, always know that there's probably another side to the story, right? You know,
did you put in the because you can comment to their did you put you should have just screenshot the 1 star and put God's chicken.
I should have. I've always kind of, and not no disrespect to anybody who's putting 1 star. But if you roll around the mud with a pig, you're going to get muddy too. So I just try to stay out of it. But as it relates to the second part of the question, which is maybe not the product that's the best, but maybe what we're most excited about is you know, the interest rate, right? Interest rate, buyers. We got some folks sitting on the sideline. We recognize that. So what can we do to get that person into a new house? I know you've probably got your real estate folks talking about, I mean, the inventory is so constrained on the existing market. There's nothing coming on the market. Well, how do we get somebody into a new home? So we have created a very, very cost-effective product. And we call it the Keys series. And I would say is it for everybody? No. But you know, what we say is the key to unlocking affordability. So we have a very engineered product. It's not for everybody, but it is for the folks who are looking to get into a home at a very cost-effective price point. And so what we're excited about it, we rolled that out this year. We spent a lot of time engineering the home to make it very, very specific on no waste, highly engineered to where it's super cost effective, but it's still a great product. You know, people think at price point and say, well, you're using different vendors. No, I can tell you, because I made the bad decision of renovating some things on my house. It's the same drywall guy who does the same drywall, same paint. Who would you put this at house? They are at my house. You know, same electrician. So it's not that there's a quote cheaper product. It's just it's engineered at a price point that we can roll product out at $275, $300, $265, $315, which in today's market is about as cost effective as a home that you can get into. And so to me, that is a competitive advantage that we have with that product. To me, it's something that allows a home buyer to then go in. Everybody wants to watch DIY and Chip and Joanna Gaines. It gives the product a great, solid, well-built home with the same vendors that we build our $400,000 houses with, but it allows them to go in and do some of those things that they otherwise would probably want to do themselves anyhow. So it's a pathway to affordability. It plays at 7% interest rate. And you know, Lord willing, that you're in the same industry I am on some level, but as the interest rates hopefully over the next 18 months tick down, it just creates more and more affordability to where these folks who are serving our country, folks who are in the fire, police, you know, those folks need a home too, and they can't afford a $375,000 house. But when people talk about quote low income or affordable, what they're talking about are teachers, firefighters, servicemen. That's what they're saying, but they disguise it as other things, as with insinuation. So we're super excited about that product. We've had a great response to it, and really that's probably going to make up 40 to 50% of our business plan next year. And so we're really excited about that. I mean, it is a great product, an affordable product that's crafted with the exact same craftsmen that are doing quote the higher end stuff. So to me, it's just a great opportunity for the consumers.
Yeah, and I'll say if you're in the north or on the west coast, pick up your jaw. Then you get a brand new home at $275, you know, because that's unheard of where they're at. And for the people who live here, you know, if you're looking at a resale at $250, $275, you're more than likely going to get into a bidding war over and not dogging any resale, because that's our majority. But it's a used product versus a brand new product. So that's super interesting, and that's a great price point. What location do you find that is the most desirable, again, for buyers and people that are looking, most desirable, again, depending on the person? But so, for you, what do you see?
So one of the things that I take it as I think it's a true thing, which is sometimes you have to drive to qualify, right? So some of this price point that we're building at, you know, it's not in downtown Fayetteville. It might be a 35-minute commute from Autryville or some of these communities that are surrounding Fort Liberty. But that's where you have to go build the product to get the price point. So some of them you do have to drive to qualify. But I would say some of the areas that we're excited about, we have a number of projects kind of in the Linden, North of Ramsey, so you have great access to 295, great access to 95. Some of them are some 2-acre lots that are bigger. All of them have public water, which is nice. Some of them have water and sewer. But we have 2 or 3 really big projects coming up on that north side. They have great school systems there, great athletics, great kind of, they call it the north side community, if you're up from that Pine Forest area.
Yeah, we got an Airbnb over there.
There you go. There you go. So we're excited about that because, again, with the advent of 295, you really can be so many places so much quicker to where it makes that Ramsey Street traffic and stuff. If you're just north of that, you can be anywhere. I think that's one of the biggest growth corridors outside of maybe that Skybo area over the next few years. And we just see a lot of upside in that area. So we're excited about that particular area. And like I said, we have some ongoing projects as we speak, and then we have some in the pipeline over the next 6, 12, 18, 24 months down the line. So we're really excited about just, again, it's more of a traditional product, great access. We have a lot of great communities that we're excited about, a lot of really, what we call A locations. Right. But I just think for one area where we have a lot going on, that to me is just an area that we've seen we see great opportunity, and also price point wise with what we can produce, not being in that $400,000 or $500,000 price point. Be $300,000 to $350,000, and we think that's just a traditional home on a nice half-acre plus lot. I mean, it's just a winning formula for us.
Yeah, exactly. And I was riding through Hope Mills and saw that you got that little cut of land next to the dam as well, and it's a cute little spot. That's where we used to play when I was a kid. Great place because you can go down to the water and hang out, and you got the lake right there. So Hope Mills is a great location too.
We have a nice development that we're working on right now down there, kind of like the last phase of one. And it's the same thing. It's going to be what we call our Key Series. So again, we have product on water, sewer, right near Hope Mills, near Millstone, the theater, probably will be in that $325 price point. So I mean, there's opportunity out there, if that's what you're looking for. So
yeah, and if you're looking at the investing side of it, of course you're buying it. That's where your home's going to be. And when Chick-fil-A moves into town and Starbucks moves into town in Hope Mills, you better believe they've already done their market research, and it's going to grow. So, no financial advice, but equity over the years to come, even buying at this price point. But I got some random questions for you. Okay. You ready?
All right.
I just moved to Fayetteville. What would you tell me about your business?
Well, if we pan to our left, we have our mission statement as well as our why. But I'm not going to bore you with that. I would say what makes us and Fayetteville a great partnership is, and we talked about it earlier, it's local to me. I choose to be in Fayetteville. I choose to operate my business out of Fayetteville. I choose to raise my family in Fayetteville. And to me, my business encompasses Fayetteville. Mm-hmm. We have ex-military folks that are working for us. We have young people that are working for us. We have young people that are married to soldiers working for us. Our business is the makeup of what Fayetteville is, which is different cross sections of life, people in different places in our life, and but everybody, in my mind, believes in the same thing. Our mission vision of who we are at Ben Stout Construction, the people that work here are focused on that. Mm-hmm. And so to me, it's important to, when I look at Fayetteville, I always say the things that Fayetteville doesn't have are things that there are opportunities for them to have. And I feel the same way about my business. Where we're at today isn't where we're going to be at tomorrow, and not where we want to be at a year from now. So Fayetteville is going to keep getting better. We're going to keep getting better. And to me, that's kind of where I think that Fayetteville and my operation have a lot of things, is that we both want to get better. And to me, that's the focus. We are going to get better, and so is Fayetteville. Yeah. So come take advantage of it. Come join us.
Totally. And I'm glad you said that, because, that's where a lot of our conversations have gone. It's just that you are a local dude and you plan to stay here. And so you're more invested here than maybe some of the out of town builders who come in here. So love that, and glad you said that. All right. What is the number one asset in your business?
People. I mean, it's the people, right? I mean, you're only as good as the people that work for you and the people that represent you. And so to me, like that's something, culture, and it is just so vitally important to any operation. And that's a cross section of every business. If you don't have great leadership and you don't have people setting the tempo, my experience is that operation, whatever the case may be, is going to struggle. You got to show up to work. You got to be there. You got to fight for the people. If my people are right, I'm going to go to bat for them. I mean, they're not in their position. They're not by themselves. everybody here is here to support one another. And so to me, the number one asset at our operation is, it's a no-brainer, it's the people.
Always. Very good. Best compliment you or your business has ever received?
Thank you. To me, just appreciation of all the people that go and again, we build homes for families. And so to have a family come back and, I have, again, don't leave a 5-star review, but Facebook me and say, hey, I want to let you know I moved back, husband, military, moved back here, bought one of your homes. So happy. Y'all have done a great job. We had a couple of things we need to get responded to. You've done a great job. Thank you so much. We have our 2 young kids are here and we're just so excited about making this our home. You don't get that all the time. I feel like with the effort we put forth, selfishly, I wish that I could get more of those, because it's not about me, it's about everybody else. And we have an organization that everybody's putting their focus into every one of those houses. And so, the people who sometimes yell the loudest get the attention. The 1-stars, everybody wants to appease those folks. But the truth of the matter is those folks that say thank you, that mean the world to you and allow you to keep wanting to grind and deal with some of the challenges. And yes, we sign up for it with what we do. But thank you is something that I think as a society as a whole, we take things for granted that just happen. What doesn't just happen is that somebody's doing the work, and they deserve to be recognized for that. And sometimes just saying thank you or I appreciate it goes so long in my mind. So that's my answer.
Yeah, that's huge. My wife moved from Ohio to here, and one of the first things I did when I was riding around is I showed her where I grew up, where the house was at, all of it. So when it comes to that, how cool is it that you're building the thing that most people will be showing their future spouse, whoever that is, their kids, when they're grandparents, their, whatever, come down here. That's one of the first things they're gonna drive by is their old house that possibly you built. And that's gonna be the memory that they talk about 30, 40, whatever years from now. And you built it.
It's pretty cool.
The team built it.
That's right.
That's sick. Best perk of being the owner of Ben Stout Construction?
It'd be naive not to say that some of the financial things that it affords you, but I would say as it relates to, to that is one of the coolest things. It is nice to be able to have resources, but the coolest thing is using those resources in a positive manner. To be able to give money to folks when they need it, or support some nonprofits, or Fayetteville Bible College, writing checks to help sponsor stuff. Truth of the matter is you can't do that when you're broke.
Yeah.
And let's just be blunt about it.
Yeah.
You can't give away money if you don't have money to give away.
Yeah.
And so it's certainly not my why, but it is nice to when you're kind of directing the ship, you got to take responsibility for how that thing goes. But it's nice in our situation to be able to help others and again facilitate money into the community, knowing that those people are then going to in turn plant seeds for things that are positive. And so that, to me, that's one of the cool things about running the show.
Yeah, and again, you're in this community, so when you deploy capital, not just for helping, jobs and your vendors and actually employing people, you're also deploying capital into the things that are going to help this place grow, stay positive, forward direction.
Yes, typically we have a budget that we set aside. Sometimes I get a little carried away, so it's hard. And listen, it is hard to say no, because as you experience success, again, one of my buddies who's on a different level than I'm at, he's like, well, man, why do people always ask for money? I'm like, because you're rich. Let's just get to the point, And so it is, you do have, as you experience more success, and then it becomes hard to say no because it starts pulling on your heartstrings. But for us, we try to do a great job of being great stewards of what we've been blessed with, and then in turn, helping others. Do we say no? At times, yes, we have to say no. But, as one of the cool things about running the show is you every once in a while can do things you otherwise wouldn't be able to. So it's pretty cool.
Totally agree. Last question. Okay. All right. So outside your business, what would you tell someone who just came to Fayetteville they'd have to do while they were here?
Wow, that's a good one.
I do this. This is what I do.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, here's how to answer that question. Okay. Is because this happened to me recently, right now, and I'll share this story with you. So we saw this thing, Fayetteville State Planetarium, Pink Floyd experience. not a Pink Floyd guy. First of all, I didn't know Fayetteville State even had a planetarium, much less as I found out more about it. It's like one of the only planetariums in the United States, if not the only, that has a certain type of camera and pixelation. I mean, the guy just nerded out on it, and I was just like, this is crazy. My takeaway from that is, even though I'm in Fayetteville, I often hear so much about what Fayetteville doesn't have. And then what I would say is, how hard have you tried and have you opened your eyes? I've been in Fayetteville for 20-something years. I had no idea about so many of the experiences that Fayetteville has. So when it's, what's the best experience? It's a hard question to answer, but I would say is, there are experiences to be had here. You just have to be willing to go find and take advantage of it. And I'll say this, when I went and experienced that, I'm not a big social media guy. I have one social media platform, somebody handles my other one, but all I did was share it, and the feedback was like, I didn't know that these are people that are my friends who live in Fayetteville. And so, you know, some of the easy answers would be the Woodpeckers, Special Ops Museum, so cool. Some of those obvious ones, but I also say is take the advantage to go really get into the weeds, and there's some really cool things that are out there, cool experiences that you otherwise, you know, wouldn't know about if you didn't take the time to go find out. I'm guilty of it myself, but Fayetteville does have a lot to offer. You just have to go kind of dig a little bit to find it.
100%. My wife actually tagged me in that post. She was like, yo, did you know? And I was like, no, I didn't even know that.
Yeah. And like I said, not a point, but it was $10. That's the thing about Fayetteville too. I mean, you're not having to go break the bank and go drop $125 on a concert ticket per se. You can do that. The cool thing, you can do it an hour away if you want to go travel for a little bit. But we have opportunities in our backyard. We just, you know, in my mind, need to do a little bit better job of taking care of it and supporting those deals. And again, because the more we invest into it, the more people are going to go invest in Fayetteville.
Exactly. So at the end of the day, the experience, something that people need to go do is just, let's say, find Fayetteville.
Yeah, that's it. Love it.
I appreciate it, brother. Yeah. Thanks, man. I appreciate your time, and reach out to Ben. He's got a lot more to offer.
Thank you so much.
See you, brother. I'm just now leaving Ben Stout's office, and man, I love this dude. I love how honest he is and what he puts into his product and where he comes from and what his future is. So I'd love to hear a little bit more about what you guys got out of this, and go out there, and you heard the man, go out there and discover more Fayetteville. Find Fayetteville.